I don't know why anyone would go to couples therapy unless they were married or have kids, I think. Certainly not if they've only been dating a year. It's Y101, Adam and Allison, this story from Minnesota about a couple who had been fighting all day. And then they decided to go to couples therapy, still fighting. And they get into it even worse whenever they're driving. The woman is driving, the man's in the passenger seat, wherein he announces the relationship is over. We're done. Just take me home. I'm not going to couples therapy.
Okay.
So she said, I'm not taking you home. Get out of my car right now. He gets out of the car. He walks across the road. And as he's crossing the front of her car, she floors it. Slams into him. He hits the hood of the car, hits the windshield, ends up cutting his elbow. It's a big mess. So I could have told that couple that they shouldn't be together whenever they decided to start going to couples therapy after only a year of dating.
But it's okay. First of all, it's not a therapist's job to tell you, like, hey, you guys shouldn't be dating.
I'm not saying it's the therapist's job. I'm saying it's the job of common sense to say, if I can't be in a relationship with this person after only 1 year without seeking professional help, how about I just don't be in a relationship with this person?
You have no business being in a relationship if that's your philosophy.
Yeah, that is my philosophy. What's your philosophy? What is too early to start going to couples therapy?
Honestly, it's never too early.
How could that possibly be?
It's not. Obviously not when you're in the talking stages, because you don't even know that you want to make a commitment to actually date that person. But I would say once you're exclusive, you could enroll in couples therapy that day. And I guarantee your relationship would be improved by it. If you both show up and are, because listen, we're not good at communication, and that is such a fundamental piece of relationships.
Right.
So if you could go to a couples therapist, that's going to help you both get better at learning how to communicate with each other, learning not to get defensive, making sure you're understanding each other and not invalidating each other. There's so many things that could be behooved from couples therapy.
If I was dating a woman and she suggested couples therapy, I would be like, we're done. This isn't working out. It's not working out.
That is such delusion. You and I, our show could probably be better if we went to couples therapy, and we're not even a couple.
Right. But I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to be dating somebody a year and want to pay money to go to couples therapy. 601-995-1017. I would love to hear your perspective on this. Do you agree that after a year of dating, there's no point in going to couples therapy? Unless you're married or have kids and you need to save the relationship, I don't understand why you would go to couples therapy. A year into dating, is that too soon to bring up couples therapy? I say it is, because if you already need professional help just to communicate after only a year into your relationship, just go be single. Go be with somebody else.
No. Why is there such an aversion to therapy on our text line right now?
I don't know if it's an aversion to therapy. There's plenty of people who have said, I'm all for therapy. Therapy's great and everything. But for couples therapy for people who are only dating less than a year?
Listen, there are so many things that we are all going to struggle with in relationships just because we weren't given the tools and resources growing up to be able to communicate with everybody and understand everybody and know that sometimes we're speaking from a place of hey, this is an experience that triggers me, or this is my inner child. I need to maybe work through this to be better in this relationship.
Kitty says you should do therapy before the relationship needs saving. Therapy gives you the tools to communicate, understand, and grow with your partner. But I'm saying, if you've only been together less than a year, why it's not even a relationship worth saving at that point?
You don't know that, and I
do know it's not worth saving because they can't get along with each other without a therapist.
That's not true. You could have a vested interest in a relationship and say, hey, listen, I know I'm tackling my own stuff and you're tackling your stuff, and we're coming into this from our own previous experiences, but I want to work through this with you, and we're going to be so much more successful at it if we have an unbiased party helping us.
Kim says you date to lead to a future with somebody you love. If there's no talks of marriage or kids, then there's no need for couples therapy.
See, I don't agree with that either, because I don't want to get married or have children, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't reach it. Whoever I'm with, once it gets serious, I want you to go to couples therapy with me, because I know the work I'm doing personally in therapy, and I know the work that could benefit our relationship to make sure that we're having each other's back and facing the world together instead of being at each other's throats.
Blaine says, I agree with Adam. It shouldn't be that hard in the beginning of a relationship. And Abigail agrees with you. She says, I'd rather go to couples therapy and fix my 1-year relationship than just throw that relationship down the drain.
Oh, thank you, Kitty and Abigail, for making me feel less crazy.
And maybe it's my perspective of like not really minding the fact that I'm single and I kind of like it. So if I was in a relationship that felt like it needed a professional to save it, I don't think my life would be worse if I were single as opposed to saving that relationship.
But I think that's the problem, is that you're looking at therapy as, well, I need it to save my relationship. No, you need it to make you a better person going forward in your relationships, in all relationships.
Felicia, what do you think?
I'm with you, Adam. If honestly, me and my husband been together 19 years, married 19 years, together 21, that might need therapy. But a year, 6 months, anything, if you're not married or with kids, just let it go.
Yeah, like, isn't that a sign that maybe the relationship was not meant to be if you can't keep it together without a professional therapist in only a year?
That part, what you said.
Thank you, Felicia. We appreciate the phone call. If you have thoughts on this and want to keep the conversation going, or maybe try to calm Allison down.
Yeah.
LaWanda, it's been so long. Good to hear from you.
I can actually speak on a situation where I was in a relationship for like a year and a month, and we weren't having serious problems, but I know I had some trust issues that I needed to work through, so I went to therapy.
Okay, but was it couples therapy or was it just you therapy?
He actually the thing is, he wanted to go to couples therapy, but like I told him, this is not an issue with us, it's an issue with me.
Okay.
So I went to therapy, and we were together for like 4 years. After that, I just had to learn a lot of stuff because I hadn't really been in a serious relationship, and I had to learn some stuff. Now, couples therapy between a year and 6 months and a year, kind of wishy-washy. But I did that for me because I know I needed help. It wasn't anything about us as a couple. It was more me realizing, okay, some things are not right with the way I communicate with him.
I do feel like there are moments and things that I've learned from therapy that it would be nice if I was dating someone, or maybe even like bring your boss in. I mean, if that was a thing that you could do, just because it's like sometimes you need help breaking down the defenses and, learning how to communicate with each other.
But see, that was my thing. I didn't know how to communicate. That was my problem. Because in my household, we didn't communicate about feelings. So I had to learn. Being a woman, you would think women already know how to communicate. We don't, especially when you weren't taught that. So I had to learn to communicate with him. He didn't have a problem communicating. I